by Gentlemen's Club and Big George. They've taken closer order. 10 lengths covers them. Navajo Warrior to catch, rounding the turn. A 2-length advantage on Over the Ocean in second. Looks Rare, inching forward in third. Cantaro Doro, American Glory, Gentlemen's Club is next. Hurricane Way in the green is in between horses as they reach the top of the stretch. And Navajo Warrior has a 2-length lead, chased by Over the Ocean. Looks Rare. There's clear sailing for Hurricane Way on the inside of Gentlemen's Club, but Navajo Warrior has opened up a commanding and insurmountable lead, finishing full a run to score by 4 lengths. Gentlemen's Club was second. Hurricane Way finished third. Big George fourth. They're in the gate. And they're off. AZ Wildcat and No Bad Beats, the two favorites, square off right away. In the air tonight, comes away in third. C'est La Vie Charlie was off slowly and last. AZ Wildcat just in front of No Bad Beats. They've sped 7 lengths clear of In the Air tonight, who's third. Joined at the rail by C'est La Vie Charlie. A half-mile left to run. Match race on the top. It is No Bad Beats, AZ Wildcat. Now it's more than 10 lengths to In the Air tonight. And C'est La Vie Charlie, less than 3 furlongs to go. AZ Wildcat reclaims the lead. No Bad Beats keeping pace, though. These two arrive at the quarter pole, completely dominating. 7 back In the Air tonight. And C'est La Vie Charlie, it's question and answer time as they reach the top of the stretch, and No Bad Beats has the advantage. Opens up a half length on AZ Wildcat, who's all out. In the Air tonight is closing from third and trying to get to these embattled leaders in the shadow of the wire. No Bad Beats, 2-length lead, and No Bad Beats wins the rundown by 3. Tight photo for second between AZ Wildcat and an oncoming In the Air tonight. Omaha Girl completes the line with Big Hug. And they're off in the Buena Vista. And Rashmi broke beautifully, as did Uncorked, and at the rail, Tirupati has speed too. Here's Omaha Girl putting even more pressure on the front runners, and in fact, this long shot Omaha Girl will sprint up and take over Tirupati second, and Rashmi is guided over to the rail as they race in single file with those 3. It's another couple back to Uncorked, followed by Big Hug, and 2 more to an unhurried Liguria. Omaha Girl, ambitious, sprints well clear. More than 8 lengths, maybe 10 now, on Tirupati in second. Umberto Rispoli has a nice hold of Rashmi, galloping along kindly in third. Then it's Big Hug in fourth, followed by Uncorked, and 2 more to Liguria. Less than a half mile to go, and it's still Omaha Girl with a big lead. Tirupati is in the second spot, a length and a half back to Rashmi in third. Then comes Big Hug. Uncorked is next, down at the rail, and another 2 to Liguria. Midway on the far turn, Omaha Girls lead shrinking, and here's Tirupati, the first to pounce in second. Behind them, Rashmi and Uncorked guided to the outside, top of the lane, and Tirupati blows on by, chased now by Rashmi. There's room for Liguria, who was dead last and is closing strongly along the inside. Inside the 8th pole, Tirupati, here comes Liguria on the inside, though, and Liguria has collared her close to home. Outside Rashmi, Liguria has won the Buena Vista under a brilliant ride from Flavian Pratt, defeating Tirupati. Rashmi had to settle for third. The 4th, scratch 1 Dawkins, scratch 5 Uncle Evco, post time in 22 minutes. We're in the gate. And they're off. Gray Area is very fast. Roman Gratis once again with sharp early speed up to take the lead. And just behind them, Outworker had a good start today in his third. They're followed by Beer Buzz, fourth, 4 lengths off the heavy favorite, 2 more back to Charms Away. Down the backstretch, and Roman Gratis speeds clear. Opens up 5 lengths, a lineup of 3. Beer Buzz along the inside takes second, with Outworker and Gray Area dropping back between. 3 clear of Charms Away. They're coming toward the 3/8 pole. Roman Gratis continues to tug his way along with a 4-length cushion on Beer Buzz. Outworker is clearly third. Gray Area is next, passed at the rail by Charms Away. Midway on the far turn, Roman Gratis 3-length lead. Beer Buzz running a good race, trying to get closer in second. And here's Charms Away finding his best stride on the inside of Outworker. They're at the top of the stretch. Roman Gratis, Beer Buzz continues a determined try in second. 5 lengths clear of Charms Away in third. They're in the final furlong. Roman Gratis, 3-length lead. Beer Buzz, Charms Away. Roman Gratis, 2.5 lengths close to home. And Roman Gratis is too good. Beer Buzz a promising second. Charms Away third. Outworker a distant fourth. Up next, the fifth, scratch number 7, Arrogarci. Post time in 25 minutes. And they're off. Pondicherry is out very quickly to take the lead. Gervin Gal has speed and moves immediately to engage. Halston Rose, Cypress Moon along the inside, and Current Affair is close up too, just 3 lengths off them. Then it's Nafisa. Quick Brown Fox is next, racing 2 in front of Insolenta, who's been guided off the rail, and another couple back to Glamora. They have less than a half mile to travel, and it's Gervin Gal who has opened up. In fact, it's a 5-length lead into the far turn. A lineup of 3 chasing. Pondicherry, Current Affair inches up on the outside, and Cypress Moon hugs the rail. That trio swarming in on Gervin Gal. Gervin Gal, Cypress Moon right up alongside now, and Current Affair is 3 deep in third. Just behind them, Halston Rose in the lime colors is followed by Nafisa. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. Nafisa trying to angle to the far outside. In the final 16th, Current Affair is coming now. There's room in between for Quick Brown Fox, who comes back smoking. Quick Brown Fox could not have been more impressive. Nafisa was second. It's a photo for third, Halston Rose and Current Affair. We're in the gate. And they're off. Very clean start. Momad out quickly. Self-sufficient is hustled hard for early speed. Here's Booksmart in the purple colors, and Booksmart is up to take a very narrow lead. Kangaroo Court is flashing some sharp early foot too in the early stages. Scatify is in that group, along with Regal Patriot, who's a joint third. It's another couple now, back to Self-Sufficient, who broke well, but sits 4 lengths off the leaders. Then comes Testudo. Hard to Figure is down at the rail. Momad outside of that group, 7 off them. Another 2 back to Shady Tiger. It's a huge gap to Positivity, and Ball Don't Lie trails. Less than 3 furlongs to go, and Booksmart bounding along on the front end has a 3-length lead on Kangaroo Court, who's clearly into second. Scatify is dropping out of it. They're followed by Regal Patriot in fourth behind them. Hard to Figure, top of the stretch. Mike Smith takes Booksmart wide into the center of the racetrack, but they are well clear. It's a half dozen lead in a blowout. From the back of the field, Positivity is starting to close fast into second. It's Booksmart clear by 4, and Booksmart wins it by 2.5. Positivity came rolling to complete the exacta. Then it was Momad in a photo over Shady Tiger, with Ball Don't Lie coming out of nowhere for 5th. 6 minutes to post. In the gate. And they're off. Even start, but it's Miss Mandella who's the quickest. Automax on the outside is up to engage, and they're joined by Thermal, who has plenty of early speed too. Nini Diamond is wrangled back in fourth, settles behind the trio battling, and Not a Sinner a comfortable fifth. It's another two. Anjan Ash has asked for a bit more. Wordplay is down at the rail. Diamond Bar Gal and Andiamo Ragazza between those two. They have less than a half-mile go. Thermal comes through inside Miss Mandella. Automax pressing three deep third. Just behind them, Nini Diamond in the orange colors fourth. 3 lengths in front of Not a Sinner as they go midway on the far turn. Anjan Ash is next. 3 lengths clear of Wordplay on the inside of Diamond Bargal and Andiamo Ragazza. Top of the stretch, it's Thermal just in front. Chased by Miss Mandella. Nini Diamond is next. Not a Sinner is trying to close some ground in the final eighth of a mile. Here's Nini Diamond pouncing on Thermal, trying to fend off these two coming. Not a Sinner and Anjan Ash. Not a Sinner, Anjan Ash. Not a Sinner, Anjan Ash. Anjan Ash in the shadow of the wire under Kyle Frey. Not a Sinner was right there in a very close photo. Nini Diamond finished third. For the DK horse San Felipe is Smooth Cruisin'. They're in the gate. And they're off in the DK horse San Felipe Stakes. Journalism broke smoothly, and so did Barnes. Barnes takes the lead after just a few jumps. Rodriguez came away in third. Smooth Cruisin' and Mellencamp is at the back of the field. So Barnes is the quickest, and he makes his way over to the rail, opening up 2 lengths. Rodriguez moves into second. Long shot Smooth Cruisin', trying to be a part of it. Moves up on the outside of him, trying to keep a little bit of pressure on Barnes, who's doing it easily past the 6 furlong pole. Humberto Rispoli has Journalism in fourth, 3.5 lengths off the pace, and Mellencamp is just outside of him. The tempo is reasonable, and it's Barnes in charge. Has it by just under a length over Rodriguez, heading to the half-mile pole in the DK horse San Felipe Stakes. Smooth Cruisin'. At the rail, Journalism is 3 lengths off the lead, trying to get a little bit closer now. He's just in front of Mellencamp. Into the far turn, it's been all Barnes. He gets a little bit of a nudge and responds. Barnes starts to sprint for home. Stablemate Rodriguez trying to make it interesting in second, and Journalism 4 off the pace in third. They're followed by Smooth Cruisin' and Mellencamp. They're a quarter of a mile from home, and Barnes is widening. Journalism now swings into action on the outside. These are the two as they come to the 8th pole. Barnes in front by 3. Journalism chasing with determination, getting closer with every stride. And here comes Journalism right on by Barnes, and it will be Journalism striding away powerfully to win the DK horse San Felipe Stakes. Barnes had to settle for second. Rodriguez a distant third. Up next, the Frank E. Kilroe Mile. Scratch number 3, El Potente. $3 late pick 3 starts with the upcoming 9th in 22 minutes. Cabo Spirit to the outside. All in line. And they're off in the Frank E. Kilroe Mile. An Air Force Red broke beautifully and goes straight to the front. Zio Joe, and now here comes Cabo Spirit, sprinting with intent to get that lead, and he's done so. Cabo Spirit will be the pace setter. Air Force Red will be second through the early stages with Zio Joe just outside of him. Then it's Formidable Man racing on the inside of Neat, who's 6 lengths off the pace. Mi Hermano Ramon is taken back on the inside of Almendares. So they make their way onto the backstretch. Mike Smith and Cabo Spirit setting the tempo. A 2-length advantage. Zio Joe, Air Force Red, side by side, second and third. Neat takes fourth, 4.5 or 5 off the lead. Formidable Man, unhurried, just inside of him. Then Almendares and Mi Hermano Ramon continues to trail. 6 lengths covers the field, half mile to travel in the Frankie Kilroe mile. Cabo Spirit, Zio Joe 1-2 into that far turn with Air Force Red down at the rail, still very much in the thick of it. Third, Need is fourth. Formidable Man 5 off the lead, followed by Almendares, Mi Hermano Ramon. 8 lengths off the pace. He's starting to look for a spot now with a quarter of a mile to go. Cabo Spirit and Zio Joe. Zio Joe comes to Cabo Spirit at the top of the stretch. Air Force Red looking for racing room. Formidable Man is coming through along the inside. Then Neat, Mi Hermano Ramon still last at the 8th pole. Zio Joe, Cabo Spirit, nose and nose. Formidable Man. Almendares is coming with big strides. Here's Formidable Man. Formidable Man. What a ride from Rispoli to take the Frankie Kilroe mile, a blanket photo for second, but the Story McCarthy and Rispoli strike right back. Up next, seeing Armando Ayuso. They're the last ones to load. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Santa Anita Handicap, presented by Yamava Resort and Casino. And Miramati comes out running, so does Midnight Mammoth. No surprise in the opening stages. JB Strikes Back comes away in third. Locked is much closer than maybe some expected. He's fourth and 4 lengths off the lead. Down at the rail, Express Train is next. 3 lengths in front of Katona. New King is down at the rail. Hit Show 3 wide and last. 7 lengths covers the field. Juan Hernandez and Miramati to set the tempo. Leading by a length and a half. Midnight Mammoth is in second. JB Strikes Back outside of him as Express Train is willing. He's right on the heels of Miramati. In fact, trying to get inside of him as they come to the 6 furlong pole. New King is now in 5th. 5 lengths off his stablemate. Locked is 3 deep. Katona right next to Hit Show. The pace is reasonable, and it's Miramati in charge onto the backstretch. Leads it by a length over Midnight Mammoth in second. Express Train has settled down third. JB Strikes Back fourth. New King and Locked are stride for stride coming to the half-mile pole. Katona is down at the rail, and Hit Show. There hasn't been much change. In fact, no change in the running order. Miramati takes them past the half-mile pole. Midnight Mammoth asked to put some pressure on the front runner in second, and then Express Train at the rail third. JB Strikes Back, the first to come under serious pressure as Express Train makes his move on the inside. Express Train and Midnight Mammoth swarming in on Miramati as they come to the quarter pole, and Express Train is the new leader in the big cap. Midnight Mammoth, Miramati, Locked is unwinding. He's coming with a huge run on the outside as the field turns for home. Locked is let loose, and he moves to the front with a furlong left to go, and it's lights out. He's pouring it on. Express Train, a belated rally from Hit Show, but it's all about Locked and Jose Ortiz dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp. Express Train was second. Hit Show finished third. Midnight Mammoth was fourth. Todd Pletcher Barn and Jose Ortiz as Locked dominates the big cap. One more left on the program. Freeport Joe to the outside. Going in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Phosphorescence in the center of the course takes command at once, but here comes British Isles, and British Isles is right up alongside. Those two broke well, but now slow the tempo down as they gallop through the stretch. But Moonlight Sonata will have none of that, and Moonlit Sonata goes on to lead them. Calm Sea now moves up to take second, and Flavian Pratt gets Phosphorescence into a good spot at the rail in third. British Isles is also perfectly placed, 4 lengths off the lead. They're followed by Zalamo and Blame the Good Times next to one another, 3 lengths clear of Takes 3 and Freeport Joe with the yellow cap. Then comes Colinga Road. Escape Artist is toward the back of the field, the 2 trailers invigorated, and Niti is at the back. They straighten up for the run down the backstretch, and it is Moonlit Sonata leading the way by a length. Calm Sea inches a bit closer in second. Phosphorescence third. Herrera gets after British Isles in fourth, 3 lengths off the lead. They are followed by Blame the Good Times, Zalamo in the turquoise colors down at the rail. Another 3 or so to Takes 3 and Freeport Joe, who are still stride for stride into the far turn. Escape Artist is next. Colinga Road is down on the inside as the field rounds the far turn. The 2 trailers at the back of the field are Niti and Invigorated. They're approaching the quarter pole and just past it now. Moonlit Sonata has been there every step of the way. Calm Sea, Phosphorescence trying to come through. British Isles is firing with that white blaze in the center of the course. And Blame the Good Times too. They're in the final furlong. Moonlit Sonata, British Isles head and head for the wire. 3 lengths back, Blame the Good Times. Moonlit Sonata, here's Phosphorescence coming through on the inside. Blanket 3-way photo. Phosphorescence on the inside. And British Isles very close between those two. Moonlit Sonata was right there in between them. Then came Blame the Good Times. Niti tried to sneak into the super high 5. A very close photo to close it out on Big Cap Day. For $3, $376.80.
Yesterday was Big Cap Day here at St. Anita, and what a day it was. Of course, graded stakes actions deluxe, but today St. Anita is known as Carryover City. That's because yesterday nobody was able to solve the riddle of either the Pick Six or the Super High Five. So we've got an $86,000 carryover in the Pick Six, a $12,000 carryover in the Super High Five. So who better than a trainer to help us identify some winners? His name, Gary Mandella. Gary, welcome to the seminar. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. Thank you, Tom.
How was your day yesterday? Did you enjoy the races? Were you at home watching? Were you on track?
No, here my father had a nice filly that won the 5th race yesterday. Was a nice experience to be around the Big Cap. It has so much history behind it, and all the good races that we saw yesterday. 3-year-olds headed towards the Derby. A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Let's kind of go back and relive history for a moment, Gary, and take a look at the stretch run of two replays I wanted to show. The first one would be for the DK horse San Felipe, won by Journalism. Let's listen to Frank Miramati bring them home.
They're a quarter of a mile from home, and Barnes is widening. Journalism now swings into action on the outside. These are the two as they come to the 8th pole. Barnes in front by 3. Journalism chasing with determination, getting closer with every stride. And here comes Journalism right on by Barnes. And it will be Journalism striding away powerfully.
Gary, the key word in Frank Miramati's description was determinately, because certainly you could see he had a lot of will to win. Barnes is no chopped liver. He's a very nice horse. They paid $3.2 million for. Like you said, we might see both those colts on the road to both the San Anita Derby and the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, very much so. Just because he loses to a horse that won the Los Alamitos Futurity, you don't know that Barnes is necessarily off the Derby trail, perhaps. Some people with conjecture are going to talk about, oh, he's my favorite for the King's Bishop later. Well, I'm dating myself now, the Alan Jerkins stakes, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Backing up to one-turn races, because he is very, very fast. Journalism, kind of a grinder. We've seen a lot of Derby winners have that kind of style profile at this time of the year. If he's lacking something at this point, maybe it's a big field. He hasn't run against a 12-horse field like some of the other horses that'll get all the way to Churchill will have by that time. But, man, off his last 2 races, there's no doubt that he's improving all the time, and he's getting better with every race. A distance not going to be a problem for the son of Curlin. Definitely a horse to watch out for the next 2 months.
Very training job by trainer Michael McCarthy. Right, hadn't been seen, like you said, since mid-December at the Los Alamitos Futurity. Came back, he knew he was running against 2 Baffert Tigers, and he had him ready to run, indicated by the Beyer speed figure that he earned of 108, which is a monster number for a lightly raced 3-year-old.
And to go even deeper on the training front with it, this is a horse who, unlike Barnes, didn't just show off first time that he was entered in a race.
Exactly.
This is a horse that's taken a little figuring out on Michael's part, as you can tell just reading him the PPs. He's got him figured out, well on his way to the Kentucky Derby. Very well done there.
The other marquee race on yesterday's card, Gary, as you well know, was the St. Anita Handicap presented by Yamavar Resort and Casino. And, of course, it was won by the Invader Lock, trained by Todd Pletcher. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe them turning for home.
As the field turns for home, Locked is let loose, and he moves to the front with a furlong left to go, and it's lights out. He's pouring it on. Express Train, a belated rally from Hit Show, but it's all about Locked and Jose Ortiz dominating the Big Cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
Gary, blinkers went on for that owned son of Locked, trained by Todd Pletcher, as I mentioned. 109 Beyer speed figure. Journalism 108, 109 by Locked. You can see won by over 8 lengths, the biggest margin in Big Cap history. That was kind of breathtaking.
Was it really? I didn't realize that. For some reason, stuck in my mind, again, I'm going to date myself. I feel like the Wicked North won just that easily, and that's kind of what this reminded me.
Was he the official winner?
Drawing away, well.
That's a different topic for a different day, right?
Leave that alone.
Of course.
But I guess that's maybe why. Interesting, Todd Pletcher never won the race before with everything else that he's checked off on his list. But blinkers on, obviously got this horse to get his absolute best. And where will he show up from here on in? Will he go to Dubai? Will he stick around the United States and be a part of the handicap division there? Will he be a part of the California Crown 6 months from now? Because maybe he likes Santa Anita more than he likes any of these other tracks. It's hard to say at this point because something clicked yesterday and we saw the best version of Lock that we've ever seen.
And Express Trade, the 2022 Santa Anita Handicap winner, actually ran a pretty good second, made the early move on the far turn, looked like it might go on, going down on the inside of Miramati, then of course got blown away by Luck. But nothing wrong in defeat, finishing second in the Big Cap.
No, nice to see an old guy like that circling back to his better form and can be a major player here in California. I'm assuming Locked is going to go home. It might not come out for something like the Hollywood Gold Cup, and Express Train's going to look great for races like that.
Gary, we thought we might have some rain today. Thankfully, we do not, so we're fast and firm. But nevertheless, I would assume this morning the training activity was pretty high because the weather forecast is calling for rain basically throughout the week.
True. So you're trying to get those workouts in, although we still have tomorrow. Most trainers would be aware of that because it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to rain enough to cancel workouts for tomorrow. But just by and large, as you're reading the form, you're trying to understand where trainers are going with horses. For the California circuit, we race Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So most horses breeze Friday, Saturday, Sundays to be a week out of their races, not necessarily right on top of them. Everybody has a different theory. Some horses you want to sharpen up and you breeze them 3 or 4 days out. But overall, the majority of horses are going to work on Saturdays and Sundays.
Gary, we've been focusing on the 3-year-olds primarily leading up to both the Sunday Derby and the Kentucky Derby, but the 2-year-olds are starting to come on the grounds. Do either you or your dad have any 2-year-olds that maybe you have high hopes for?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. So we'll just have to see what develops later in the year. And, Dad's the kind of trainer that he lets him come in, get everything acclimated and settled in, and doesn't start in on them right away with breezing. So it'll be a while before we have much opinion.
The Mandella family had to have a smile on their face when jockey Flavien Prat won the Eclipse Award as the leading jockey last year. Flavien certainly deserved that. We knew well early on, many years ago, that Flavien was a very talented jockey. The rest of the country found out the last couple of years. Talk to us about Flavien just as a mature young man. I mean, I was blown away when I first met him and his wife probably 4 or 5 years ago. He is mature way beyond his age.
Way beyond. At 18, he behaved like a 30-year-old. He really did. And it's funny that his hair is graying prematurely because it actually follows where he's at as a person. He's just always been that guy, extremely grounded, extremely thoughtful, not just in terms of racing tactics, way ahead of the curve in terms of race tactics and thinking through races before they actually get in the gate, but just as a person as well. And it was such a privilege to get to be around him and my father in those couple of years that he got to come over in the winters and sort of get a feel for what racing was going to be like here. And then when he finally decided to be here full time, it was amazing to see what you thought would happen. But here was somebody actually taking advantage of all the skills he had, putting every ounce of it to use, the hard work, the God-gifted athleticism, everything that he absolutely could, and finally getting his due and getting an Eclipse Award.
And he's not afraid to hop on a plane. Last Friday, he actually rode at Turfway Park, of all places, because there was a stakes race there, then flew back to Southern California. He bounces around the country pretty good. I'm sure he's got a lot of frequent flyer miles.
It took him a little bit, but he's figured out now that that's the way to make the most of everything, and exposing himself more to the East Coast media obviously helped get him some of those horses like Sierra Leone that put him on top last year. A little bit more exposure to the East Coast media doesn't hurt either. Get a few more votes in your pocket, and nice to see everything come together for him last year.
We're going to make the most of everything to find out who Gary Mandella likes on today's 11-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the scratches, which there are a number of today on today's Sunday's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf today out 20 feet. Here are the early changes. Race 1, scratch 3, Ubakakeo. Race 2, scratch number 3, Attracted. In the third, scratch number 1, Speed Lane. Race 4, scratch 2, Greta's Ghost. Fifth race, we have a middle pick 4 and the start of the all-turf pick 3. Scratch 3, Couleur. Scratch 5, Soigner. 3 and 5 out of race 5. Soignon is the actual pronunciation. Race 6, the Fasig-Tipton Santa Isabel Stake. Scratch 4, Cipriani. Scratch number 6, Hey Jesse. 4 and 6 are out. There's $86,000 in the pick 6 carryover, starting with the 6th. In the 7, scratch 7, Guaguarero. Turning to the 8, scratch 2, Nolde. Scratch 8, A Man of My Stature. Scratch 11, Chief Jackson. Scratch 13, Pour on the Coal. 2, 8, 11, and 13 are out. The 12 draws in. In the 9th, no changes. 10th race, scratch 2, Novena Phobia. And in the 11, scratch 11, Lamas. Scratch 12, Sarwar. There's a super high 5 carryover as well. $12,967. Carryover Central here at Santa Anita Park today. In the pick 6, more than 86,000, almost 13,000 in the super high 5. Best of luck as we close out the week of racing. Enjoy your afternoon here at Santa Anita Park. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner, where his special guest today is Gary Mandella.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Gary Mandella. Of course, he's his own trainer in his own right, but of course, he also helps out his dad, Hall of Fame trainer Richard Mandella. It's our pleasure to have him today to look through today's 11-race card. Gary, before we take a look at those races, question for you. We saw the good reporting that Steve Anderson from the Daily Racing Forum always does, and he informed us earlier this week that Copian is going to be on the sidelines. Is she okay?
Yeah, she's just sick. Her blood.
Aren't we all?
Well, it's kind of been that sort of a winter, hasn't it? But she got a bug. Her white blood cell count and some things aren't quite right there, but they're getting better. So she'll be fine in the end, and we'll get her back when she's ready for it. She's been a tigress, hasn't she,
Sure since she came back on opening day, and then, of course, the subsequent victory. Both breathtaking efforts.
Yeah, very, very nice. Nice to have a filly like that in the barn that's got that kind of speed and can carry it 7/8 the way
Correct.
that she does. Gives us hope, that we've got a lot of options for the rest of the year. Now we'll just be patient and wait for her to tell us when she's ready and get her back in a nice race.
We got hope that you can find some winners for us on today's 11-race card, Gary. So let's kick things off in race number 1, which of course begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. We're on the main track, 1 mile the distance for $16,000 claimers, 9 winners of 2 races lifetime. Scratch the 3, Ubabaka Ko leads us with a field of 5. The original morning line favorite was number 4, Be Punctual at 8-5, but the current betting choice at 8-5 is number 2, Pete's Old Fashioned from the Steve Knapp barn. Tyler Bay's in the saddle. Give us your thoughts on race 1.
A long ways back to Pete's Old Fashioned's last win. So I'm going to lean towards the 4, Be Punctual here. Horse that's going the right way and improving. I know he got himself disqualified the other day with Kyle Frey. Maybe he hit the front a little bit too soon there. We'll see if he changes his tactics a little bit in this one. But numbers-wise, he's going the right direction. And at this level, I think that counts for quite a bit. I think the hidden horse in here is the 1, Cupid's Crusader. Last time he won a mile on dirt. That's a number good enough to run very, very well here. So maybe we can excuse a couple of these turf races in here that have been around recently for Jesus having a very nice meet. Going to put this horse in a good spot. I'd side with those 2 over the public's choice right now.
Gary, a question for you regarding number 2, Pete's Old Fashioned, because you brought it up. He only has 1 win from 19 career starts. How frustrating it is to you guys as trainers and horsewomen to have a horse that maybe seems to be a little bit camera shy. I'm sure you pull your hair out trying to figure out what can we do, blinkers on, blinkers off, change the distance, change the surface. I mean, it's got to be a little bit maddening, right? Because you want the horse to succeed, if at all possible, but yet when you look at the PPs, he's just 1 for 19 lifetime.
It depends on what you're seeing in the morning. If a horse is trying as hard as they can and that's all the ability they've ever shown, you're happy that they're paying their way, making their owners, be able to have their bills paid for the monthly expenses and things like that. The frustrating versions of these horses are the ones that breeze 57 and change in the morning, and they find a way to get nailed on the wire every single time you put them out there, and they're capable of running away from some of the horses that they're competing against and winning by 5. And so you do things like gelding, blinkers on, blinkers off, changes in bridles, changes in riders to try to change tactics, things like that. And you do the best you can and hope that you can figure it out. And by the time you get to 1 for 19, if you've been expecting more prior to that, it can be very frustrating.
Let's take a look at race number 2, which begins the 50-cent early pick 4, Gary. We're sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track. It's an allowance optional claiming race for restricted fillies and mares, primarily from Northern California, and going 5.5 furlongs in the main track, if I did not say that, which I think I did. Scratch the original morning line favorite, number 3, Attracted, leaves us with a field of 6. The likely morning line favorite now should be number 5, Rousing Jewel from the Dean Pedersen barn. Dean's had a field day with these Northern California horses coming into his barn. He's done very well so far the first couple months of the meet.
It had a great last 6 months, really. He had a really good fall as well. Had some horses running really well for him. He's definitely got a lot of momentum. And this horse, based on that last race, probably should be the favorite. I kind of like the 6 Velocious in here, though. Won the last 2 races on dirt. And I think that maybe speaks a little bit louder than what some people will pay attention to here. Draws outside the favorite, which I like. Espanol Espinosa's holding his own.
More than holding his own, yes,
OJ
sir.
Haragi's holding his own with these races that are like this down here on the circuit now. I think Velocious has a good chance to get the best of Rousing Jewel.
How do you figure out, Gary, another trading question for you. How do you figure out whether a horse or a filly or whoever might prefer dirt over turf or turf over dirt? It's kind of like, you can't train on the turf here. So how do you kind of figure out, other than pedigree, whether they might like turf as opposed to dirt, or vice versa?
Horses come into your barn before they ever race. You start with pedigree and just kind of have an idea.
Right?
Then you look at how they're training and see what's going on with that. But once they've run, then you just got to take that for what it is, and you try both, and you see what you get, because you will end up with some pretty big surprises on occasion.
We are on the turf course in race number 3, going a mile and an eighth. It's for fillies and mares. It's a starter allowance race. Scratch the 1, Speed Lane, leaves us with a field of 5. Number 6 starts now from the Richie Baltus barn, is 8-5 in the morning line. When Richie names Flavian as his jock, that usually means go time. You expect her to show up with a big performance today, Gary?
You would think so. I'm probably silly to pick against this filly. I just, watching the replay back, I didn't think this mare tried very hard last time. I didn't. And it's not like you're getting a huge rider upgrade here. You're going from Juan Hernandez to Flavian Pratt.
Exactly.
So I do have a little suspicion about this filly. And the lighter race, Tis Now Mama, I think maybe got the benefit of one of those light bulb races where everything went right for her and she's kind of finally figured things out. Putting her back on the turf last time seemed to make a huge difference to her, and Antonio Frizzou was aboard her and is obviously going to ride her with a lot of confidence. And there might be enough speed in here for the 2 Miss Brightside to run another really good race again. She needs pace to run at from down in the 2-hole with Umberto Rispoli. I don't have to remind you how good a day he had.
Unbelievable.
Terrific the way he's riding right now. So he's going to have the timing down just where he needs it to be. But just because I think she's got more upside, and the last race, watching her open up the way that she did, I liked Tis Now Mama in this spot today.
Gary, a question for you, just historically. Yesterday, we showed a lot of the former runnings of the Anita handicap, and of course, it's great to walk down memory lane. You mentioned Tis Now Mama as your top pick in race number 3, of course, sired by Tis Now, and of course, it begs the question, thinking back to Jay Robbins and Chris McCarron, what a great job they did. Of course, won the Breeders' Cup shortly after 9/11. I mean, Tis Now was maybe one of the best calibreds we've ever had.
100%. Maybe one of the best handicap division horses of the last 25, 30 years. I'm not sure that he gets his due.
Correct.
You go back and you remember he beat Giants Causeway on the square the year before the 9/11. And as quirky a horse as he was, to be a horseman and look at it from that side, it's a little bit easier to forgive some of the races that he had late in his career where he wasn't quite at his best, but also make you appreciate what a job Jay did to get him back to that for the Breeders' Cup. A lot of people don't remember the specifics of that going into it, but he hadn't been running his former self. He'd had a workout here that Chris had sort of aborted because the horse was just acting strange. And a month later, to get him all the way to Belmont, to have him get back to his old form and beat an Arc de Triomphe winner like Saki in that situation was one of the true displays of horsemanship I've ever witnessed in the time, whether I'm in the media or not. Just watching a trainer get to the bottom of his horse and really figure him out in just the right time.
One trainer respecting the work of another trainer. You just saw it on live TV, and it certainly explains itself why we have so much admiration for both Tisnow the horse and Jay Robbins the trainer. Race number 4, we're sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track for maiden claiming Calbred. 3-year-old fillies in for a $50,000 tag. Scratch number 2, Greta's Ghost, leaves us with a field of 7. Number 4, Mimosas from the Jeff Bondi barn, adding Lasix, is the 9-5 morning line favorite. One start last year, now back off the layoff. What say you about race 4, Gary?
Oh, but don't you have to bet a horse that you're going to pronounce mimosas on a Sunday? I mean, that's just, I think we're forcing our hands there. The 2 great Greta's Ghost, I was sorry to see scratched in the end because those workouts were just interesting enough to make her a long shot. But I think Jeff Bondi's filly, the fact that he ran her maiden special weight and she was 3rd in a maiden special weight, we talk about this every time I come on. Biggest drop in class in the game. Second biggest is coming up later, and we'll get to that. But maiden special weight to maiden claiming for the first time makes an enormous difference.
In the maiden special weight rank, you're running against potential stake runners. You drop into the maiden claiming race, highly unlikely going to run against any future stake stars.
Yeah, you'll catch an exchange every once in a while.
Of course, but that's an aberration.
Rarely. Absolutely rarely. Maybe above the ordinary on the outside. I don't like that this filly's bred more for turf than she is for dirt, but this filly looks like she's been ready to run for a while, which I like for a first-time starter. I think, especially coming from Pleasanton and having to run here, it looks like she's got a really good foundation and a bottom on her. If she can break well enough, put herself in a decent spot. But there's so many first-time starters in here. Mimosa's going to get a really good trip, and with the drop in class, probably get the job done as the favorite. On today's
11 race card, Sandy offers a 50-cent middle pick 4, which will begin in race number 5. Also, race number 5 begins the $3 all-turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. And we kick off both wagers in race 5, sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course for maiden special weights 3-year-olds. Scratch the 3 and the 5, leaves us with a field of 5. Take note, number 4, Buster's Way, as a first-time gelding. Number 7, Straight Cash, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. However, your dad does have a runner in here, Gary. Number 6, Going Viral, who has had 2 career starts up to this point, 1 sprinting on the turf course, 1 going long on the main track. We haven't seen Going Viral since January 4th, so let's watch a workout courtesy of our friends at First TV back on January 22nd. That is Going Viral on the inside, and we can see that she's he's working in company with a runner from your dad's barn, Persia, who hasn't run since 2023. Persia, I'm assuming, is going to be coming up to a race pretty soon here, but I actually like the way Going Viral was working out here on the training track. Yeah, and I think going back to a question you asked me 5 minutes ago, as a trainer, how do you figure out where to run your horses? This is a horse who got his first race on the turf because his feet are shaped a little bit that way, and just kind of gave him a race to get him an education the first time. Being by Into Mischief, there's an obvious temptation to try him on the dirt after that. Not that Into Mischief doesn't get turf horses, but 3-year-old colt he's by Into Mischief. You want to see what he can do on dirt. That experiment didn't work. Here back on the synthetic, which is more like turf, you can see how in hand he's breezing here with the filly Persia. Like I say, I think the first race, just kind of a learning experience for him. Getting back to that, he's got a chance now that he's dead fit, not his first race. He's got a chance to live up to the potential that you're seeing here and the way that he's traveling and get the job done. I like the way he looked in the paddock on debut at Del Mar, Gary. I was down in the paddock, and he looked really good. It kind of struck me as being a sprinter. So I think he's back in the right element. And he took action that day. It was morning line 10-1. As you can see, went off at 7-2. Didn't run completely horrible, showed some speed and then kind of backed out. And like you said, knowing that it was an educational run, that makes it even more impressive. And last time, you just draw a line through it. The best example of excusing a horse's performance that I have is Point Given's performance in the Kentucky Derby. He really didn't fire that particular day, and yet he turned out to be the best 3-year-old, in his crop. So certainly, I think the 20-1 might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration. Could be a betting time for Going Viral. Do you put him on top, or do you like another horse? Or who are you most concerned about?
No, I do. I think he's going to run much better today.
Okay.
You've got to show John Sadler's horse a little bit of respect just based on numbers, but they're not headed the right direction, are they? 2 and 3 races back, if he runs those, he's going to win today. But his last race doesn't necessarily win today. And so there's a little ambiguity to where he's going. Now that this is a 5-horse field and you've got Juan Hernandez on John Sadler's horse, you're looking at, are we going to get even money? Maybe. You're definitely going to get 5-1 on Going Viral, even though it's a 5-horse field. So definitely a better betting opportunity there.
Race number 6 is when the fireworks begins. That's because we kick off the pick 6 with an $86,000 carryover in race 6, which is the grade 3 phasic tipped in Santa Isabel Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. Going a mile and a 16th on the main track. 2 scratches. Scratch the 4 and the 6. Leaves us with a field of 4. Bob Baffert trains 2 of them in here, but the morning line favorite trained by John Sadler is number 3, Super Speed, with Flavian in the saddle. Give us your thoughts on race 6, Gary.
Very impressive win last time. Very impressive.
For Super Speed.
For Super Speed, sorry. Yeah, and Flavian Pratt going to be aboard today. Unknown commodity on the dirt. That's the trick here. How much is the public going to stick with May Sam after a very disappointing race in the Sunland Oaks? Are you going to believe that the blinkers coming off is going to do the trick? Are you going to believe that returning to California from Sunland is going to do the trick? It is Bob Baffert and Juan Hernandez after all. But we saw a little bit of kryptonite with them yesterday. Barnes was beatable in the end, and the San Felipe is May Sam the same here. Maybe a filly that's not had a chance yet to try the dirt. John must have had his reasons for starting her on the turf. Maybe we'll find out today that she'll be okay on the dirt and justify American Pharoah on the bottom. And that's undefeated in 6 Triple Crown races between the two of them. So there's got to be a little chance that it's going to work. And on raw ability, she has every chance to be just as good as May Sam. So if you're going to get a little bit better price, and Flavian Pratt in the bargain, that seems like it would swing my pendulum that direction.
Lots of question marks in the first leg of the pick 6, particularly with the 2 runners looking to take the most betting action. Race number 7 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. We're going 2 turns, 1 mile on the main track for maiden claimer. $20,000 is the claiming tag. Scratch the 7 leaves us with a field of 9. Number 9, Resemblance. 5-2 on the morning line. Steve Knapp again with another morning line favorite. What say you about race 7, Gary?
Not a lot often makes sense in the maiden 20s, especially going long, admittedly. But I think Resemblance does here. And usually I'm looking to take a shot against favorites in races of this level. But not here. The drop in class is going to be significant from maiden 50 to maiden 20. Last time we saw this horse on the dirt was in the maiden 50s at Los Al and ran a very good second. Just a repeat of that, I think very confidently wins this one. The 2, Mr. Fabricator, maybe a little bit interesting on the stretch out. And again, the last time this horse tried long on dirt was against tougher horses for Sean McCarthy and ran a number that gets the job done here. So if you insist on playing against the favorite, Mr. Fabricator is the way to go. But I do think Resemblance will get it done here.
9-2 in race number 7. So says our seminar guest, Gary Mandella. Let's take a look at race number 8, Gary. Begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We're 1 mile on the main track for restricted $5,000 claimers. There's 4 scratches in this race. Scratch the 2, 8, 11, and 13. That means number 12 will compete, draws into the body of the field. The morning line favorite, number 7, Contrarian Chieftain from the Francisco Rodriguez barn. 5-2 on the morning line. Man, this is a head scratcher, Gary.
It is. It is. Third off the layoff, though. This is a 6-year-old. Got a little break, needed a race, came back and ran a big second last time out. Best last race coming into here by far. So it's tough to pick against Contrary Chieftain in any way, really. Nolde was a little bit interesting because
we remember him back in the day, right?
Because before the scratch, this was the second biggest drop in horse racing. Open claiming to restricted claiming. Almost as significant as maiden special weight to maiden claiming. And that, just for taking notes purposes, if you're somebody who doesn't handicap all the time, you always have to pay attention to that class drop, especially now that we have these kinds of races more often in Southern California. It's a very significant move for a trainer and puts you in a much different competition set. So probably we're going to have another favorite winning in the 8th.
And Nolde likes to win races. 34 career starts as a 9-year-old, 11 career wins, 7 seconds, 2/3. Certainly has a nose for the wire, but he's only 1 for 12 on a fast main track. So again, a lot of different questions to answer as handicappers throughout this pick 6 sequence. Race number 9 begins at $3 late pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. We're sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course for Calbred, fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Field of 8, number 8, Long May She Reign from Mark Glatt is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Gary, I wanted to show a replay that a number of these runners exit. As a matter of fact, 3 of these runners in today's 9th race exit the same race. That would be the race back on January 31st, the 5th race. And the 3 runners exiting this race are Blue Wildcat, Berry Valley, and Lady Gregory. The one I want you to watch is Lady Gregory in this replay we're about to watch. She'll be wearing saddlecloth number 5. You're going to see she's pretty much bottled up the entire way, particularly as they turn for home. Hector Barris really has nowhere to go. We'll watch a little bit of the gallop out. You'll see once she finds room, she starts to explode. I think she's going to run well today for trainer Jeff Mullins, but you be the judge. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action back on January 31st and watch Lady Gregory breaking from post position number 5.
Yay. They're off. Can't Sleep is going out for the early lead, but is headed now by Barbera. And down on the inside comes Baby Kristen. So those three will battle it out as they cross the dirt and get to the main course. Lady Gregory is tucked in 4th along the inside. Dendera is next, racing 2 in front of Blue Wildcat. And Berry Valley is far behind the field. Down the back stretch, and it's Baby Kristen in front, by about a half a length. Barbera in between horses. Dendera 3 deep in 3rd. Lady Gregory moves up to take 4th, and Can't Sleep now 5th, 4 lengths off the lead. 2 more to Blue Wildcat, a half dozen in front of Berry Valley. Around that turn, they continue. Baby Kristen, Dendera, Barbera in between. They've been right across the course throughout. Lady Gregory and Can't Sleep both looming behind them, followed by Blue Wildcat switching to the far outside, and then Berry Valley within 7 of the lead, widest of all. Now Can't Sleep storms to the front. Lady Gregory buried in traffic along the inside. Can't Sleep opens up. Blue Wildcat, Berry Valley closing, but it's Can't Sleep. Can't Sleep is much the best, handwritten to a decisive W.
Gary, earlier in the seminar, you talked about the importance of watching replays. As we watch the gallop out here, you can see Lady Gregory down the rail finally gets some room to run and kind of runs late. That race was at 6.5 furlongs. But if you just look at the PPs, it looks like she really didn't have that much trouble. I thought the trouble was significant. I think drawn outside today, she's going to get a little bit more of a clearer run. You can see Jeff Mullins has that nice bullet workout in her last workout over the training track. I like Lady Gregory best in race 9, but you're the guest. Who do you like best in race 9?
I think Long May She Reign is a very formidable favorite here. You can't knock her last 5 races. She's ultra consistent. She's going to make her own pace for Ricky Gonzalez and put herself right in good spot. She's drawn outside of a couple like Raising Silver that might have a little speed, 5 a Cocktail. So I think she's going to get a great trip from there. And just the fact that she's so consistent is what I think is the most remarkable about her. You can't fault Lady Gregory over the course of her career for sure with those 9 wins. And she certainly did have some trouble in her last that deserved to be noted the way that you did. I could make an easy argument that she was second best that day and should have finished second and probably would go off as second choice here because of it if she had. But I also think you would be wise to look at 5 a Cocktail in here as well. Second off the layoff, very good comeback effort off of a layoff since May where she opened up at the top of the stretch. Couldn't quite pay it off on the dirt. It's out of a European-bred mare as well. And we're going to finally get to the turf today where she's run some pretty good synthetic races up at Golden Gate Fields. Maybe giving you a sign that she's going to like the turf as well. So I'm going to go with Long May She Reign, but Lady Gregory and 5 a Cocktail mean that she's not affiliated with single.
A favorite and a long shot in race number 9 for our seminar guest, Gary Mandella. 2-1 over 10-1. 5-0 Cocktail, interesting long shot, as Gary pointed out. Race number 10 begins the $5 late daily double wager with a reduced 15% takeout. We're back sprinting 6 furlongs for $16,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Same condition as race number 1, except this is the sprint version. Scratch the 2, take note number 3, Middleton's Music is a first-time gelding. Again, the favorite is down on the bottom, number 8, Billy Joe Shaver from the Steve Miotti barn. 9-5 according to Jeff Siegel and crew. What say you about race 10, Gary?
I think Jeff's got Billy Joe Shaver in the right place here. That's a big race last time out. Switching to the turf and getting a big win, but had won the last time on dirt prior. It makes a lot of sense. Blazing Pem, the 5 down towards the inside, first time for a claiming price for Tim McCanna. Interesting it's hard to say where a horse that broke his maiden at Sacramento is exactly going to fit down here on this circuit and against these kinds of horses, because having won at Sacramento, that's not even part of the regular Golden Gate circuit necessarily. Completely different type of track. Big Splash coming in off of Los Alamitos. You've got some interesting sorts of angles to work with in this race. But I do think the favorite is solid. And Tim McKenna coming in with a 59 and change work from up in Pleasanton with the 5, maybe we don't have to worry about the layoff seeing work quite that good and maybe offer some value.
Really good pick 6 sequence closes out in race number 11, where we've got another carryover, the $1 super high 5. Here's a carryover of $12,000. And this is a really good competitive race that could go a number of different ways. We're going 1 mile of the turf course for allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of 2 other than scratch the 2 also eligibles, 11 and 12. Take note number 9, Genius Jimmy is a first-time gelding. The Maury Line favorite off the layoff is number 3, City Exile from the Phil D'Amato barn at 3-1. Here's your dad's second entry on today's card, Gary. It's Maniatic, number 6, first time in the United States. Before we get your thoughts on the race, let's watch a workout courtesy of our friends at firsttv.com for Maniatic. It would be his most recent workout on February 24th, 4 furlongs and change. Girl Can't Help It, a filly that a horse that you well know. 1 win so far, but has some problems at the gate. Typically, going to be entered back pretty soon. But nevertheless, I thought this was a good workout for both horses.
It was, and he's a horse that works a little bit better if you put him in some company. She is as well. So they did each other. It made very good companions, we thought, here on this particular where they're both very much in hand, doing it easy. The training track right now has a lot of bounce to it, and horses really can go over it very well in terms of times versus how much you see the riders working with them. We do think that Maniatic is a horse that has a lot of quality. Could end up being a significant horse on the circuit later on down the line. As a better, what you have to ask us as a team trying to train this horse is, do you look at his PPs going with all these 1.5 mile races, and do you believe in him going a mile?
But or 4 shows, he's 2 for 3 at the distance.
2 for 3 at the distance, but against not necessarily the highest rate of competition that he would have seen over there in the earlier stages of his racing. I think you're seeing from that work that he's handy enough. And if you believe that he's going to be a stakes horse at the end of the day, does he win at a mile, even if it's less than his perfect distance, just because he has the most potential out of anybody? Which of the horses in here do you see ending up a stakes winner 6 months from now? There's a couple. Mike McCarthy's horse, I think, scares me. The late run that he put in last time to get the job done in a
spectacular.
Photo, very, very impressive. And he's a horse that's kind of gradually climbing the ranks. But there's not a horse in here that just broke his maiden by 12, is what I mean. So we might have just simply the best horse in the race, even though it's not his perfect distance today.
Gary, you named Diego Herrera as the jock, and he and your dad have not teamed up. Of course, Ryan Casada, I'm sure, knocking on many doors to get Diego as many mounts as he can. Has Diego been working the horse in the morning, or what led up to this mount, if you know?
Has not. But just simply impressed with what we're seeing in the afternoon, and Dad likes to give guys a chance and work their way in if they're able to. And Diego's more than paid his dues and had a very good winter here at Santa Anita.
Gary, you're a busy man. You didn't need to spend the last 40 minutes with me, but you agreed to do so. And thanks so much for your time and insight. Good luck not only with your dad's 2 runners today, but of course with all your runners going forward. We always respect and admire the horses and the horse flesh that you bring over to the racetrack. And so keep up the great work. And again, thanks for your time and insight today.
Always fun, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. One more wager to remind you about. That's the $1 Coast to Coast Pick 5. Today's action includes 3 races from Santa Anita, 2 from Gulfstream Park, $1 minimum, low 15% takeout. We kick off the action with Gulfstream Park, race number 8, 1:42 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you get involved. That wager always pays extremely well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great Sunday afternoon, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good morning, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. Track is fast, turf is firm. The track conditions are brought to you by John Deere. Here are the changes. Race 1, scratch 3, Bakakeo. Race 2, scratch number 3, Attracted. In the third, scratch number 1, Speed Lane. Race 4, take out the 2, Greta's Ghost. Race 5, scratch 3, Cool Air. Scratch 5, Soy None. 3 and 5 out of the 5th. All turf pick 3 and middle pick 4 start with race 5. The 6th is the Phasic Tipton Santa Isabel. And the start of the pick 6, there's 86,000 in the carryover. Scratch 4, Cipriani. Scratch 6, Hey Jesse. In the 7th, scratch number 7, Guaguarero. Turning to the 8th, scratch number 2, Nolde. Scratch 8, A Man of My Stature. Scratch 11, Chief Jackson. Scratch 13, Pour on the Coal. The 12 draws in. No changes in the 9th. In the 10th, scratch 2, Novinophobia. And in the 11th, there's $12,967 in the Super High 5 carryover. Scratch the also eligibles 11 and 12. The big news in carryovers today is the pick 6, 86,000. It starts with our 6th race. Best of luck throughout the afternoon, including in the Coast to Coast pick 5, combining races from Gulfstream and Santa Anita Park. $1 wager, low 15% takeout. It starts with Gulfstream's 8th. Race 1 at the Great Race Place is 26 minutes away. We kick things off at 12 noon.
Be a smarter better with First TV, the best horses. With thousands of exclusive morning workouts. All at your fingertips and delivered right into your inbox. Everything you need to be informed. Be smart. Bet smart. With First TV.